Oh, we are live. We are live. We are live, right? Yes, we're
We're live.
live. Hey, John, I have a quick question for you, man. Is there any truth to the rumor that you are the reason Johnny Depp and
No, get out of here. Rob, why you gotta poop on the bed?
Is there any truth to the rumor that you're the cause? Oh, Amber Heard. I couldn't remember her name.
You forgot Amber. Dude, Amber Turd was trending on Twitter. I was like, oh man, this is getting out of hand. I don't think we can get into it because there's a whole thing going on.
It's shit.
It's crazy. What's up, folks? Welcome to the Sidekick show. That's Rob. I'm John.
Hey.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you're catching us on the rewatch, we are live every Monday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please tune in and join us in the chat. I see a whole bunch of people in the chat. I see Sarah's in the house, Lewis is in the house, John, Frazier. I don't know if
it's like Romper Room.
Yeah. I see. I don't know what music they used to play during that.
I don't know. I think it's some crazy Christian stuff.
Yeah. All right. So what are we talking about tonight, Rob?
First of all, thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks to John for hitting the intro and for showing up. And despite people in the comments saying you're late, check your watches, man. We're right on time.
Couple seconds.
We've got a lot going on tonight. We have first of all, we are jumping back in time all the way to 2016, which feels like a really long time ago, John. It's PC post-COVID. To Doctor Strange.
Seems like ages ago.
Yeah. It's hard. You know what's even weirder to think is that 2016, this is his first sequel. That's 6 years later, but we have seen him in other movies. So we'll get into that. So we're talking Doctor Strange. We're talking what is new in the shop at Heroes World. We're also going to be talking about what's new in the news. We had a lot of news that came out last week. And then we're going to talk about stuff that John and I have been watching and reading and doing for the past week. So welcome, everybody. And John, how are you, good sir?
I'm doing good. I could use some sun. Like, what happened to the sun? Saturday we had such a nice weekend opener, and then it just turned into kind of rainy.
I'm at my wit's end with this weather, John. We haven't had over 20-degree weather since sometime in August. This is unacceptable. It's May 2nd.
I demand a change.
I am so pissed with this weather situation. So, when you only have a short number of months of really hot weather, when it starts getting chipped away at you at the beginning of the season, it really starts to irritate you. Well, me. I'm irritated.
Well, I think it's when you're getting so close to kind of like it's like now's the time. What's going on? Why is who forgot to flip the switch to get the summer rolling? But let's kick it off with how was your weekend, folks? So if you guys got to check out something new or watch some TV or caught up on something, definitely let us know in the chat what you got up to this weekend. Rob, you told me you got a ton of stuff done this weekend. I feel like last week you checked off like 5 things on your to-do list of like the whole year, but how much more did you get to this year? I know we both got to see Ambulance kind of short-lived theater run, went straight to a digital purchase rental now. So the Michael Bay vehicle starring Jake Gyllenhaal and I forgot the other gentleman, the guy who played Black Manta from Aquaman. Let me try and
Abdul.
Yeah. And then the girl was somebody too. I think I've seen her in a couple.
Yeah, sure.
Different pieces.
You know what? Listen, man, I had zero interest in really watching this in the theater, and yet I kind of feel like
Isa Gonzalez. I really wanted to see it in theaters. I still regret not seeing it in theaters.
I kind of do as well. I think you know what? It is a stupid movie, but it's stupid in such a good way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like. This would have been pure popcorn fun. Like this would have, if I had paid money to see this in the theater, I would not have been disappointed. So,
yeah. I was. You definitely have to turn off your brain Our good buddy Stu said you got to turn off your brain and kick it a couple times. And I
Down
think that's
curve.
pretty accurate. So if you haven't seen Ambulance, I think you have a blast. But what else did you get up to this weekend, Rob?
Well, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to get up to what I did for the past week, John, because most of this was on the weekend, I will say. But I just circling back last week, I had started the Batman Snyder Capullo Omnibus Volume 1, which is about, I think it's 1,200 pages, 1,175 maybe. Anyways, completed that. Now I'm on to the Death of Captain America Omnibus by Brubaker and Epting. So I'm on to that. But in terms of stuff that I watched, John, last week, I had to make a post-it note. Upload. seven episodes of Upload, season 2, completed. Ambulance. So this is what I watched on the weekend, all right? Ambulance, we just talked about. Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams reboot. I know people are like, I got to tell you, I actually quite enjoy that movie. And I enjoy it a lot more now.
A lot of lens flares going on in that movie from my memory.
There is. But comparative to the Star Trek TV series we've been getting of late, this movie is great. Godfather 4K. I finally sat down and watched The Godfather in 4K, and then I watched the special features on the restoration, and wow, what a difference. I quite enjoyed The Godfather.
How impressive is the 4K? Like 4K, you were legit like, you know, sometimes you see those upgrades and you're like, I don't know if I see the difference. Like this, you could like really see what was going on. Comparative
to the 2007 restoration, it's gorgeous looking. So I quite enjoyed that. And John, there's a movie it just dropped on Amazon Prime this past weekend with Chris Pine called The Contractor.
Yes,
I watched it.
How is it?
I watched it.
That is neither an endorsement nor a slam. So
I will say this. What was that one with Michael B. Jordan? Was that
no remorse or something like that? Without remorse. I think you're right. I think it's Without Remorse.
I actually enjoyed The Contractor maybe a little bit more, but it's kind of along the same lines of if you've seen it, you'll see it, you'll probably enjoy it, and then that's it. You'll have no desire or impetus to want to watch it again. But listen, it's on your Prime. If you got Prime membership, sure, give it a whirl. But The Contractor with Chris Pine and Ben Foster is on there. So
I probably should have opted to watch that. I watched there was an Aaron Eckhart movie that popped up on Netflix called Line of Duty or something like that.
Okay.
And I don't know if this guy's just picking bad projects lately. So if anyone checked that out on Netflix, I don't know if I can recommend that one, but I do like Aaron Eckhart, but I was just kind of like, I don't know what's going on here. I guess it was it looked like it was maybe shot in a day. So maybe that's why. I don't know. I did get to see the new Nicolas Cage movie, Rob. What's it called? The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah, you saw the movie, not me.
It has such a long title. Every time I was trying to type it out to somebody, hey, I'm gonna go watch this, I was like,
you just took a screenshot. That's all you
did.
Yeah,
I did. I think it's a screenshot of the time and the place.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah. And I will say I do highly recommend this movie. I think you probably could wait for streaming. I don't want to give anything away. I feel like the less you know, the better for it. But I was like cracking up the whole movie. It was super fun. I will give away one thing. The movie opens up, Rob, with the ending of Con Air. So I couldn't be more through. I literally when the screen rolls up and it plays the ending scene of Nicolas Cage when he's got the bunny and he's giving it to his daughter. So shout out to Con Air. I was like, yes, Con Air. But wow. I think everyone's gonna have a good time when they see that. We got a lot of stuff going on in the comments here. We did watch We Own This City. I don't know if anyone watched We Own This City episode 1 on HBO Max and Crave here in Canada. That is the John Brenthau and ensemble cast. Based on some real life events, but cop stuff, spiritual successor to The Wire. Are you happy with it, Rob? Or
I am.
Are you...
So I saw episode 1 came out on Monday. Episode 2 is tonight. I will probably wait till tomorrow to watch it. But it is shot very much similar to The Wire. Like when you say spiritual successor, you are not lying. Like there are a couple of tracking shots and walk and talk shots where I'm like, wow, this is exactly like The Wire. So I really enjoyed the first episode, and I'm quite excited just to watch episode 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely fire up the episode 2 later on tonight after we finish here. And then I did see that Ozark, the part 2 of the final season dropped. But I'm scared to get to it. I'm kind of like excited, but I'm also sad. Like this is the end. Like I did the same thing with when I discovered Firefly, I was late to the party for Firefly. I tanked through all the seasons, and then I was saving the movie for the longest time because I was like, I don't want it to end. So I'm a little worried about the ending of Ozark. So shout outs if anyone else is watching Ozark. A couple of people shouted out that they did watch that Rainbow Six movie and said it was good. I still haven't watched it yet.
Rainbow Six.
Yeah, the Tom Clancy, the Michael B. Jordan.
Okay.
Yeah, Without Remorse. Yeah.
Hang on, Jonathan Yo. Jonathan Yo asked me how was Upload season 2. You know what? I actually really enjoy this TV show. I think it's smarter than I had anticipated going in. I'm a big fan of this show, and I'm hopeful that we get a season 3. So.
Yeah. All right. I remember seeing it. Yeah. Scott's shouting out the Amber Turd coverage. Sorry, I called her Amber Turd, but whatever. Apologies to, I don't know who I'm apologizing to. But yeah, if you're watching
how about Miss Turd? Heard.
Yeah, I don't know. It's ridiculous. I question a lot of things. I don't know if we should do a reaction to it one day or something like that. But it's kind of crazy when you're, hey man, when you're scrolling through your socials and like TikTok or whatever, and there's all these videos. This is crazy. This is the craziest thing we've seen in a fire. Yeah, Gord's shouting out Line of Fire. I haven't gotten to the end, Gord. I think I abandoned ship. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it. But I don't know. I'm guessing you're feeling you didn't like it as well, or you thought that the ending was a stretch. A bunch of, I think Sarah mentions she also saw Everything Everywhere All at Once. Rob, I think you said it was pretty good. You recommended it. I think Jonathan Yo saw it last week before, and he said it was pretty good. And Sarah said it was like, what the heck was that? So I guess she's really looking for someone to talk to about it. So hopefully that'll drop on streaming soon, and I'll be able to catch it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to theater.
I think that this might be a movie. Like that movie is something. Listen, I'm gonna speak a little lingo here, John. I'm gonna go way back to my youth in the 90s.
Your youth?
And my youth. And there were certain movies that if you were hanging out with your friends, kind of like that 70s show where you're all sitting in the basement, you're all sitting around and the camera is spinning and you're all kind of token up and you're watching. There are certain movies that you watch and you're like, wow, this is fucking crazy shit. And it's accentuated because you have partaken in recreational activities. That movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think will really blow your mind as a, more than if you were sober. There are some people though, John, that have never touched the stuff and really do cement their status as the goody two shoes of the group. So take that for what you will, but whether you see it under the influence or sober, I hope you enjoy it because it is one hell of a movie.
I think I'm gonna have to watch it at home with subtitles. I think that's how it's being described to me. That I'm just gonna be like, what the hell is going on? But looks like I don't know if anyone else got anything else during the weekend.
That sounds dirty.
Yeah. If you want to take it dirty, Jesus Christ.
I will say
that sounded dirty too.
There you go. I will say this, John. Last week I was talking about this documentary I was watching on space, and you started nodding off. Because of that, I watched a documentary on Apollo 11 on Netflix, and because of that, I have now started. They did a remake of The Right Stuff, the movie from the 80s. They made a TV series with National Geographic and Disney Plus that I've just started up last night. So I'm one episode in, but it's
okay. If I need some help getting to sleep, I will definitely go through that list you just ran through. If it was The Right Stuff and it was a documentary on the New Kids on the Block rise to fame, maybe I'd tune in.
You got the right stuff.
You got the right stuff. Yeah. Shout out to New Kids on the Block. We mentioned Abercrombie and Fitch last week. We got New Kids on the Block. I think we're going to talk about Chinese food next week. So stay tuned for that, folks. Yeah, see, Scott watched the Abercrombie documentary. We got to ask him if he saw Gordon there or not. But all right, let's go. Now we're gonna switch gears here a little bit. Thank you for sharing your weekend antics with us, and thank you for listening to our weekend antics. So let's talk a little bit about what's going down in the store. Rob, I want to show you some cool things, and then Rob's gonna go over some crazy news that's been going down this week. It's been a nutty week, so let's go. So if you are not following the store Heroes World on Instagram or Facebook, we do post in the new comic books that come out every week, every Monday. So you'll see a list of the books that we are carrying. This is a picture of Batman 123, which is part 5 of the Shadow War crossover, whole big thing. So definitely check that out. Batman is consistently on fire. So there's a lot of good stuff that you can check out, and comic books are great. So definitely check those out. Rob, can I show you this guy here? Do you recognize this boy?
Oh, look at this.
This is Bolo Young
Bolo
from
Young.
Bloodsport, aka Chonglei, or whatever you want to call him. This is the statue from Sideshow Collectibles is going to be carrying this one. And they're doing two versions. Wow. So they're doing Bolo from Bloodsport, and then this one is called Jeet Kune Do. But it's basically the Enter the Dragon version of him. Yeah. I guess maybe they weren't allowed to use those exact words or name or something like that. But I think this is a pretty cool moment in history where we're having a statue of this character or this guy who was such an icon back in the day. A lot of 80s movies. He had a decent run as the bad guy in at least 2 Van Damme movies, multiple others, and then he even had a short run as a good guy in some of the B movies. Do you hazard a guess on how much these statues will be worth each, Rob?
I don't. One thing I will say, the likeness is crazy. I am a little bit I'm not sure how I feel about both statues the exact same pose. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they do this company. I forgot the name of this company, but this company seems to do this a lot. They kind of take the body and just kind of reuse the body.
Yeah.
And they're able to kind of work out two statues in one go. So I got.
They did the same with Conan, with the Arnold Conan too, I believe. If I remember correctly, the Arnold Conan was pretty expensive. I'm gonna say these are like $800 each.
Yeah, you can see here it's pretty big in that picture. I believe they're like 1/3 scale, so they are significantly large. So they're $975 US.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much I'm going to commit. He is one of my all-time favorite bad guys. Maybe if they did his double impact version, but we'll see. Maybe that's coming around the corner. Let's look at some other cool stuff. This is Benjamin Sisko from Deep Space Nine. I know we got some Trek fans in here. This is by a different company called EXO, who actually does a lot of these Star Trek guys. I don't know what the significance of the baseball is, Rob. I don't know if you're a hardcore Trekkie from DS9.
It is his. Yeah, but I gotta say, I'm not sure I'm feeling this likeness, to be honest.
Yeah. I grabbed the picture of him here. I feel like that's not even a great picture of this actor. But yeah, it doesn't look quite right.
No.
Look, Fraser says, "What happened to his face?"
Yeah. This looks like Tyler Perry cosplaying. I don't.
No, Jonathan Yo says it doesn't look bad at all. So maybe I'll be passing on this one. But yeah, that's what happens when sometimes you get these smaller companies. And it is much more affordable. This is $180 USD. So we'll see what happens to that. But let's move on to some hot toys. So it was inevitable. We're gonna get our entire I don't know if you want to call them Sinister Six or just an entire rogues gallery from No Way Home. We've got Jamie Foxx as the Electro here. How do you feel about this likeness? This looks a bit closer. He looks a bit older than I think I would.
It does. I was gonna say he looks like he's in his late 50s. With this. Yeah. Listen, it looks okay. You know what the problem is that we've seen a lot of really good likenesses on some of these figures. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like when they hit, but when they miss, they miss. Do you know what I'm saying? So
okay. Again, sometimes different angles, and sometimes they do go back to the drawing board on these. If after the reveal, enough people are like, yeah, no, man. But overall, it does look good. He comes with a ton of stuff. You could cover his face up if you don't like it, with the electrical star thing on his head. But overall, it's pretty cool that we're getting all these characters from this show. So this guy goes for about $285 USD from Hot Toys. It'll be a minute before it's out. Is his hair gray because of the lightning? I think it's just the light effect that they've got on here. But maybe they went for just this older looking face sculpt, but I don't know. Next on the docket, we've got our girl, Kate Bishop from the Hawkeye series. So it's inevitable that they're going to do everything from the TV series, it looks like, or the Marvel TV shows. So this is Haley Is it Stansfield? Yeah, Stansfield, right? Yeah. I always want to say Steinfeld, but
what are you talking about?
Yeah. What is the deal with archers? But yeah, this is a cool figure. I feel like the likeness again is not quite doing it for me right now, but maybe
it looks like her sister, where it's like, oh, they look alike, but they're not twins.
Yeah.
So,
I think, yeah, from the one angle, so that the picture kind of closer on the right, I think it looks a little bit more like her than the other picture. So again, angle, lighting, they put the band-aids on her face and stuff. So
oh, I was just gonna ask. I was like, what the hell's on her chin? Like,
yeah, yeah, like Jesus, clean the figures off before you take pictures of them. Yeah, Scott shouts out Hawkeye. Yeah, I do miss the grounded Marvel shows, like we won't get into it because we've been doing a Moon Knight and stuff like that. But yeah, so yeah, 270 USD. So that's standard fare for these Hot Toys that don't have metal parts.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you another one. So this is a different type of statue, same character. This is the Kotobukiya Bishojo statue.
Yeah.
So if you are into kind of the anime style, what they do is they take the original design for the character. So that's the design from the comic book that the TV series was loosely based off of. And they have this artist kind of render them in a manga form. And then they kind of turn it into plastic. So they do a really good job. They look amazing. And they're usually fairly affordable. You got Pizza Dog in this one as well. So that's a really cool shout out. So yeah, a lot of people are like, pass. Yeah, but this has a whole genre in its own. So I feel like a lot of people are not going to feel a manga anime version of certainly one of these characters, but they do a really good job with paint apps. So I don't know if they're doing it by machines or they have robots doing it. It's ridiculous. And then last thing I'll shout out is this Court of the Owls art print, Rob. Like, so Sideshow does these art prints, and this is not from the book. You just read the book, right? So this artwork is completely not from the book.
Correct.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool though. So kind of like it makes it look like there's going to be a movie in the works or something like that. But this is by artist Alex Gardner. It's 18 by 24, limited to 375 pieces, and it's about 95 USD. So this is also something.
No, 95 USD.
Yeah, what did I say? Did I not say
195? You added an extra $100 value in there.
I'll take the 100 and you can pay the 95. But 95 USD. So this is a really cool piece, I think. And it would look really fetching in your living room. So if anyone's down, let me know. And it's really neat that Sideshow also does these art prints now.
When's it coming out?
I don't know. I have to look that
Perfect.
up. Hit me up after. I'll let you know. I think these come out a little bit faster because they don't have to go through the whole production process and all that kind of stuff.
So you know what? That looks really nice. You take it to Michael's, get it framed. It would look really cool.
Scott has them come to hands. Yeah, I think we could make those for you, Scott, if you want. and you mount them in your wall, and it just looks like.
Does it come with the fingers that are apparently from the Alien?
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, so sorry, I snuck in a fetch there, but yeah, we got to do that movie soon. And the last thing this is the last thing I'm gonna mention is we did get this Mumra action figure from Super 7, one of the ultimate bad guys from our 80s cartoon youth. And this is a great photo edit that one of my customers sent me. So you can follow him on Instagram, Action Figure Captures. His handle is there. But he did a really good job posing it up. It comes with a cloth cape with wires in it, and he's really cool. So if you're fans of Thundercats or any 80s cartoons, Super 7 has got those type of things on lock. So if you want to hear about any more of those, hit me up. But let's kick it over to Rob and let's talk about the news.
Oh, buddy. I'm going to pull the news here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate it. There's a lot of, I don't know what happened here. I just see Sarah saying, turn into a slutty version. I don't know who that's directed towards. I don't know if that's for Gord.
I think it's a generalization of what happens when you have a manga artist or an anime artist draw any type of female. It appears.
Yeah. Skanky. But thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't had an opportunity to check out the Heroes World main show with myself, John, and Stuart, please do so. Check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. We reviewed Moon Knight episode 5. We are obviously coming up to the finale in 2 days, and the review will be out Thursday or Friday, I believe. So tune into that. And now, John, I wish this was vodka. It's funny, and what a little glass of, what water can do, John. Water can fill you up, and it can also make you go flat ass broke, as I just found out this weekend when all of the water in my pool seemed to be leaking out over the winter. So this can make me feel better, and also at the same time,
have you been drinking it? Were you using it to make ice?
Yes.
Maybe you forgot. You were removing it from there.
Yeah. Hey, John.
What's up, Rob?
Today's first news story is a follow-up to one from 2 weeks ago, John. I went back all the way through my emails to the April 18th news show. At that time, we broke news that HBO Max had greenlit a Wonder Twins movie starring KJ Apa and Isabel May as Zane and Jaina, respectively. Well, in between April 18th, John, and this, yesterday, May the 1st, Warner Brothers was purchased and closed by the Discovery Network, which is now called Warner Brothers Discovery. They've apparently said to the Wonder Twins, no powers are activating, and they have shut down production. The movie was supposed to start filming this summer. Everybody was told, pack your bag, get the hell out, and don't let the door hit you on the way out. So no Wonder Twins movie for HBO Max or for theatrical release. John,
that sucks. They already started rolling, and they
no, not yet. No,
Okay.
no, not yet. There's another story where people started rolling. No. They were. It was in pre-production. It was going to start rolling this summer. Everybody got fired. So, John, is this a crushing blow?
Great Lewis form of cancellation. That is much more clever. I should have come up with that. Yeah, I think we stated this before. Who asked for this? And why do they keep trying with these types of characters? And I'm sorry, I'm not going to miss it. I'm sure those actors are going to get other types of work and stuff like that. So I'm not too broken up about it, Rob.
I had a line here, John, and it said, "Is this a crushing blow to see your favorite twins since the Barbie twins grace the screen?" I know you know who the Barbie twins are. Okay,
I don't actually. I'm trying to think of my most famous twins. That would have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. That is the supreme form of twins in my mind.
I have a funny feeling that there are some guys on here who understand who the Barbie twins reference was. Okay, last week was CinemaCon, John, and here are some quick hits for you. Okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Avatar 2, which is dropping December the 16th as a formal title. It's called Avatar: The Way of Water, otherwise known as Avatar: The Way Water Leaks Out of Rob's Pool. Avatar 2 trailer is dropping this weekend on the 3D versions of Doctor Strange. So if you're happen to be watching the 3D version of Doc Strange and the Multiverse of Madness this weekend, like I am, you'll get to see Avatar's trailer. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait for about a week or so for it to hit the interwebs. Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, has shifted 5 days back to December 21st to avoid Avatar because they were going to be releasing on the same day. To which director David Sandberg tweeted out, "You're welcome, James Cameron," which I thought was really funny. Mission Impossible 7 is coming out July 2023, and it will be called Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. So we've got a title. They are currently filming Reckoning Part 2, which comes out in 2024. It feels and sounds like years and years away. There's also a bunch of other footage from all of the anticipated movies shown at CinemaCon. And if you want to know how many bat suits are in the Flash movie, well, you can just go online and Google it all, but I'll give you a hint. 6. Apparently there are 6 bat suits worn by Michael Keaton in the Flash movie. Moving on, John. Hey, John.
Hey, Rob.
You know how next year Captain Marvel 2, a.k.a. The Marvels, and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania are coming out? Well, buddy, their release dates have moved, but it's not all bad news. They've essentially just swapped their dates, which sounds very interesting, John, swapping dates. So now Ant-Man 3 will be coming out on February the 12th, and the Marvels will now be out July 28th, 2023. No word as to why the change happened.
Look at this title banner. It barely fits on the screen. Quantum
Quantumania.
Oh my god. All right, yeah, I'm definitely not going to be typing that out during text when that when that movie drops as well.
Just
New Ant-Man question mark
AM3. Yeah. Hey, John, it appears as though the Arrowverse is on its last legs. We got word last week that both Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow were canceled by the CW network, leaving only The Flash, Naomi, and Superman and Lois on there. I'll be surprised if Naomi has a season 2 order, to be honest. John, are you sad to see these two shows stride off into the sunset?
So Batwoman, I think I only watched episode 1 because we did some coverage on it. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. The Corvette was kind of whack, and then Legends of Tomorrow. I never even watched it, even during the CW's heyday. So yeah, again, I'm not a big CW a fan of the CW. I want to say so. Sure, sorry. Hopefully, all those people working on those shows move on to bigger, better things.
Yeah, I watched a couple episodes of Ruby Rose take on Batwoman, and I bowed out. And then I watched this new season, the first couple episodes, as you said, when it came out with I can't remember her name. No, Javincia. Anyways,
Javicia,
I watched the first couple episodes. I was like, nah, I found it to be slow and plotting. Legends, I saw the first season, and I was like, oh, it's like a Doctor Who ripoff with a guy from Doctor Who. And then I watched a couple other episodes, and then it just fell off the wagon. It never held my interest. I know some people did, but so be it. Big news out of Marvel, John. Director John Watts, who helmed the Spider-Man trilogy for Marvel and Sony, was tapped to direct Fantastic Four for Marvel. It was a massive announcement they had made. Lots of people were happy about it. Well, unfortunately, John Watts has decided to step away from the project, simply stating he is burnt out from superhero movies and needs time to just relax and recharge. Kevin Feige issued a statement in support of Watts. So it appears to all be amicable. And Feige says, listen, I hope we get to work with him again. I completely respect his decision to walk away. So John, is this a bummer for Marvel's first family, or are you okay with them getting someone different to helm this movie?
I did like his work, and I remember when it was announced, we were like, oh yeah, this is promising. So yeah, it's a shame. But I don't even think they started casting or filming or anything like that, right? So
yeah, no.
So whatever, push it back on the schedule, get somebody else. I'm trying to think of who could direct like a Fantastic Four team movie, maybe like the guys behind Incredibles or something, guys and gals behind Incredibles. I don't know if that would be a thing.
Bird?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but then aren't you just kind of redoing something you've already done in animated form?
Yeah, but you're doing it with the actual Fantastic Four, not the knockoff. And I don't know.
Well, speaking of director departures, John. Hey, John. Remember last week we showed off the Fast and Furious 10 logo?
Yeah, it was dynamite. It was like a big X.
Right. Well, there is also another big X happening because Justin Lin, the director, has quit Fast and Furious 10. This is the guy who's directed 4 out of the last 6 Fast and Furious movies. He walked away 10 days into filming. A press release states it was creative differences, but John, everybody knows this is because of some serious issues between Vin and Lin. Oh, I like that.
Vin versus Lin.
That's right. A report that came out earlier this morning said that Justin Lin was walking away from what would have paid him about $10 to $20 million. The shutdown is costing Universal $1 million a day while they search for a new director. We're going to get into the new director because I wrote this first. And then some more.
I was going to ask you, do you think that's legit? 1 million, like hemorrhaging 1 million.
Well, think about all the
day.
stars. Yeah. Well, they're paying everybody, right, to be there, and like so. On top of that, another report came out this evening from, I believe it was, it might be Variety, but supposedly there was a meeting with Vin Diesel, Justin Lin, and 2 others. And it got pretty heated because apparently, allegedly, I should be saying, allegedly, Vin Diesel keeps coming into these meetings with script changes, is late. He has new ideas, and he and Justin Lin got into a pretty heated argument, and somebody stormed out and slammed the door. And apparently Justin Lin said, I cannot deal with this anymore. So we were wondering what was going to happen with the new director, but John, this afternoon, it was announced that Louis Leterrier, who very good. John,
that's pretty good.
I like that, buddy. He who helmed the first couple of Transporter movies, as well as the Edward Norton, The Incredible Hulk, the movie that most people try to forget about as being part of the MCU. He will be stepping in to replace Justin.
Don't forget Clash of Titans.
Yep. Which is great.
Oh, you're gonna forget Clash of Titans. All right,
I think we should all forget Clash of Titans. This is going to be really interesting, John, because he's walking into a production that is already 10 days in. There's already a script, producers, everything, sets built. Like it's not like Ron Howard can go in and just redo everything on Solo. This is somebody who's the ball is rolling. You've got to keep going. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this movie plays out. But John, first of all, were you concerned about Justin Lin leaving? And then I guess now that Louis Leterrier has been named, are you happy with this, or is this kind of like, what a shit show?
Yeah. First of all, Scott, no, I'm pretty sure it was the new Clash of Titans with I forgot what his name was. The guy who was going to be like Sam Worthington.
What?
Or Sam Worthington, isn't it?
Worthington, yeah.
Yeah. He was in Terminator Salvation and a bunch of
an Avatar.
Like an Avatar, yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah. It kind of sucks because he was a part of the family, as Rob would say, for this Fast and the Furious franchise. So it's kind of odd to see him step away, and he's got writing credits and all kinds of stuff like that. So what are they going to do? Are they purposely going to nudge away any ideas that he had? I guess that was probably the issue. Diesel wanted to get rid of speculation. Vin Diesel wanted to change some of his ideas, and he didn't want to change it. And then now he doesn't want his name associated with the movie, other than a producer credit, which I guess just gets him paid for his ideas and stuff like that. So I think it's a shame. Especially they're right here. They're right at the end. 2 more movies, right? Unless it's some type of hype train and they're going to hype it up, he comes back for number 11, which is a really elaborate long play, right? So I don't know. What do you feel, Rob? You weren't feeling this last movie, which was him, right? So are you okay with a change in direction, possibly?
Couldn't give a shit. You know what? I think that, listen, my personal opinion is this.
Yeah.
This is a franchise that's made a gazillion dollars at the box office. And I think they have a star/producer in Vin Diesel who thinks that he is the reason that they've made all this money. And for whatever reason, Universal are bowing down to him. But let's not forget, it was Justin Lin who turned this franchise around with Fast and Furious as a soft reboot, and then gave us F5 and F6 and whatnot. So, I'm I to be honest with you, I think they should have just shut the whole thing down and called it a day. But that's just me, because I don't have as much love for this franchise. I do want to clarify. Fraser said, "Boo, Rob, I liked Ed's Hulk. I'll watch that 1,000,000 times more than Ang Lee Hulk." Hey, I'm not saying I don't like the Ed Norton Hulk. I actually quite enjoy it. All I'm saying is that there are many people who refuse to acknowledge that movie exists as part of the MCU canon.
I've never seen it.
Okay, looks like we got something to watch in the next few weeks.
No, not gonna happen.
So I do quite enjoy it, especially because it has a bit more of a flair of the original television series from 78 to 82. But also, I have a problem believing that Brooklyn, New York has a Zanzibar. It's just reminds me of my bachelor party. Okay, and finally, John, listen, man, I never want to end the news on a sad story. I always want to get that out of the way first, but there was zero chance I was going to end the show with any news about Fast and the Furious as the last story. So unfortunately, last week, the world lost comic book titan Neil Adams at the age of 80 from complications from sepsis. John, you and I could probably go on for hours and hours talking about the influences that this man has had in all of us as readers, as consumers, but also the impact on the comics world in general. Do you have a favorite Neil Adams story or thought?
It's just that you would recognize his art. So anyone who kind of grew up and picked up a comic from, let's say, like 70s and maybe early 80s era, odds are it was Neil Adams art, especially if it was a DC book. Even so much so that I remember going to my doctor's office and he would have a whole bunch of old posters up, and one of them was a Neil Adams Batman, just because that was the definitive, the blue and gray Batman comic style. So it's kind of it's kind of crazy losing a legend like this. He has a whole line of like hardcovers and all that kind of stuff. He used to have like art books coming out all the time. So he was a big contributor to the comics that we have today, I think. So
well, it's so funny. So there's a photo of that Superman breaking the chains, and I don't know.
Yeah.
See, I have that. Try to get the camera right there.
Is that Man of Steel?
That statue.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. Based on his from DC Direct. For me, John, I was, as you said, like a lot of these comic books. were drawn by this guy that they're so recognizable. T-shirts, bed sheets, fucking underoos printed with this guy's art.
Yeah. If you had Batman merch or Justice League or Superman merch from your childhood, odds are, it was Neil Adams.
It was Neil Adams.
Yeah.
But for me, my biggest thing is he was a massive proponent for comic book creators. So much so that again, I'm going to really truncate this for time and because there's so much into it, but he abdicated against Warner and DC to give Joel Shuster and Jerry Siegel credit and some compensation for Superman. As the creators of Superman, there is a big history with that. They sold the rights to Superman back in, I think it was the 40s or whatever, for like, I don't know, $1,000 or something. And they were pretty much flat broke. And it was his interjection before Superman, the movie, had come out. And like literally leading up to days before the movie, where he was going to hold press conferences and essentially show the world that these are the creators of Superman and they are living in like squalor. And you've got this massive movie coming out. And his work with having creators be credited for their work really kind of started with those guys and stepping out and helping which were at that point were in their 70s, I believe. I would definitely recommend. There's a lot of documentaries about it. You can go onto YouTube, just type in Neil Adams, Superman creators. There's stuff that were taken from the Superman Blu-rays and DVDs about it as well. So I would definitely recommend going in. If you may not be familiar with his artwork and whatnot, obviously there's tons that you can look into that. But if you're looking for a bit more insight onto the man and what he actually contributed to the movement of this medium, I would highly recommend you look at some information on his involvement with Siegel and Shuster. So,
yeah. Rest in peace to this legend.
There you go.
Yeah, bottoms up. Rob's got his vodka.
And that, John, is the news.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you everybody for sticking with us. So let's get to it. Let's talk Doctor Strange, Rob. Unless we had anything else any other housekeeping or whatever.
I don't. I just see that release the Lynn cut is trending on our chat. Justin Lin.
That 1 day cut of footage that he got in.
Yeah, 10 days. He filmed for 10 days, so I'm not sure how much you're really gonna get from him, but good on you guys. All right, guys, we're going to get into the movie of the night. Doctor Strange, thank you for joining John and I. This is the Heroes World Sidekick Show. Doctor Strange, John, based on the character created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, opened November 4th, 2016, which feels maybe about 12 years ago, John.
Yeah.
Movie is directed by Scott Derrickson, who has more of a horror movie director pedigree behind him, including the upcoming The Black Phone, with Ethan Hawke. With John, I know that you're not a horror movie guy, but I can't wait to see this movie. It looks insane. I'm so excited to see it. The estimates on the budget, John, are very wide. They vary between 165 million and 237 million. I don't know. But the movie brought in 678 million at the box office. The cast includes Benedict Cumberbatch, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Rachel McAdams, Benedict Wong, Mads Mikkelsen, and Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, which was quite the controversial casting choice, John, especially if you remember everything that was happening in 2016 and 2015 with respect to Asian characters. The movie was a hit with audiences and critics alike, scoring, as we see on the screen here, 86% audience and 89% critic score. Since this movie has come out, we've seen Doctor Strange in Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War, and Endgame, as well as Spider-Man No Way Home. So this is the sixth outing of Doctor Strange, and yet only his second movie. The sequel, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, drops this Friday. John, this is your first time sitting and watching this movie. Let's discuss what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so Doctor Strange, I never saw it originally when it came out. I just missed it in theaters, and then I didn't have desire to come back because the Marvel magic realm is typically not my thing. I was never a Doctor Strange fan in the comics. So watching this movie for the first time, it's a good movie. It's a solid movie. I think It is. It did lose a bit because it was. We've seen, like Rob said, seen Doctor Strange 4 or 5 more other times, and now I'm backtracking into this, and even some of the set pieces at the end, the finale, and the time stone, and all this type of stuff. They kind of cover a lot of things in the newer movies. They kind of become bigger and crazier. So this definitely doesn't have as much impact. Going back and watching it in the reverse order. So I definitely should have tried to get it in earlier or whatever. But yeah, overall, I like the movie. I can see why some people regard it so high. It is a little bit more on the more serious kind of Winter Soldier spectrum. If we're going to have like a sliding scale on the overall feel of some of these Marvel movies. But yeah, I think Marvel does a really good job of casting very charismatic leads, I find. Yeah. So even if the movie script and story kind of fell apart, some of these leads could maybe carry it on their own. So you guys in the chat who rewatched it with us, let me know how you feel about it. Revisiting this after, Jesus, was that 6 years?
6 years.
But maybe it's been in heavy rotation. Rob, how many times have you watched this movie? Is this only a handful of times, or was this on heavy rotation? Is this in your Marvel top 5?
No, it's not. But I will say I've probably watched it more than a lot of others, and the reason being is that I have a 3D television, and so for me, it really leads like a lot of this movie, like it leads and so well and breathes so well in 3D. Like it's, the astral plane, even the constructs that he makes, the magic, like the depth of everything. I love watching it in 3D. And so I fired up my 3D. I put the glasses on, fired up the television and watched it. So it still holds up. Excuse me. It still holds up for me, but I do agree with you, John. Now having so much has happened since this movie that, the time stone and everything else like that, it was pretty cool to kind of watch it when, a couple of times when it came out afterwards, you're like, oh, kind of neat. But now knowing that it's essentially irrelevant, and that a lot of these things are different, even his power structure is a little bit different. It does play, like you have to kind of remember, wow, this is 6 years ago, right? Like there's so much has happened.
It's almost like you ever hear about those people who start watching it from the beginning? It's almost like you got to ramp yourself up. So us going from No Way Home and then just kind of backtracking to this is probably too drastic a step. So if I went back and started watching from the beginning again, and I got to Doctor Strange, I think 100% would have more impact than I guess it did. But yeah, the effects look cool. Like I really like Doctor Strange's like kind of like little spaghetti whip thing. Yeah, I thought that was cool, and then everyone else's weapons were really good.
I like the psychedelic nature. Like I feel like they really. I thought Scott Derrickson did a really cool job mimicking the aesthetic of Doctor Strange comics from the 70s, right? Like the 60s and 70s, which were like, you could tell the Marvel bullpen were probably dropping acid.
Like, what if these buildings start like folding on top of each other and there's guys in them and then it unfolds and those guys are still there? It's like it's pretty elaborate, some of the stuff.
Yeah, it was very Inception like. But even
did Inception come out before this or after this? I feel like it was before this.
Yeah. So, but even watching, like even towards the end when he's facing Scott Graziano, I mean Dormammu. There we go. Even when it's very psychedelic. Like it is almost ripped from the pages of the 70s outing, right? So I listen, I do enjoy this. For me, this is probably one of their stronger origin movies. In comparison to some of the other ones that we've had that are origin movies. I quite enjoy this one. I think because of the special effects aspect of things. But the
origin, you're right. The origin portion I actually enjoyed a lot more than the later on stuff.
Yeah. And especially like when the Ancient One, when he finally gets in and he's like, teach me and this and that, and she knocks him out of the ancestral plane and everything else, and he's falling through space and time and everything, and he's being sling forward and backwards. Yeah. Like I thought, like that stuff was just a lot of fun. It was something that we really hadn't seen too much of, maybe a little bit in Guardians of the Galaxy, but not too much of, right? So it was just different. And that was the thing. It was really different than what had come before it in the MCU. So for me, I enjoy it. I do agree that watching it now, you almost yourself have to rewind your mind to kind of forget everything that's come since then. So it is very weird, John. I have a very difficult time trying to think of any other example, like non-Marvel example, where we have one movie and then the character comes back 4 times or 3 times or whatever, and then before their sequel. Like, it just seems so bizarre. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. But whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm kind of like the man on the outside though, because all I saw were his appearances in all these other Marvel movies, and I'm like, yo, this guy's mad cool, and I go back and see a whole movie for him. But so we'll see how it goes. So, folks, who was your favorite character in this movie? I've already stated how charming Benedict Cumberbatch is as Doctor Strange, but do you offer your choice of favorite to someone else in the cast? I really liked Mordo. Chitwell, what's his name?
Ejiofor.
Yeah. I really liked him. I've liked him ever since that Firefly movie, or Serenity, I guess you would call it.
Okay.
He always just plays characters that are just kind of like really seem like wise and kind of like badass. So I really liked him in this movie. And I missed the ending. I think there's a after credit scene. And then there's an after credit scene. I had to watch it later on where he takes the power back from Benjamin Bratt or something like that. I'm like, oh man, this guy just turned super evil. So I'm guessing that's going to be his role in the new movie. But anyone who else's favorite? Yeah. So a lot of shout outs to Wong. Rob, who's your favorite? Is it Doctor Strange himself? Are you a Rachel McAdams guy?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think Mads Mikkelsen did a fantastic job as the bad guy, but I don't know. I don't want to avoid talking about this because I think it deserves to be spoken about. But I really liked Tilda Swinton and her version of the Ancient One. I think Tilda Swinton is one of those really, like, she's wacky as all hell. She's very androgynous. She went from Snowpiercer into this. She is a character actress. Or actor, and I think is talented as all hell. And so I really enjoyed seeing her portrayal as the Ancient One. But I'm interested to find out what your thoughts are in the fact that the Ancient One has always been an old Asian man character.
Yeah.
And obviously Tilda Swinton is Caucasian. I believe she's actually Irish. And so, but she, I think they acknowledge that the moniker of the Ancient One is handed down, much like the Source of Supreme idea is handed down to different individuals. So she's just next in line to have adopted that moniker. But what were your thoughts on the fact that you had a Caucasian female playing the Ancient One?
Yeah. So again, Doctor Strange, never one of my guys back in the day, so I wasn't even familiar with it. I know the controversy going afterwards, but I didn't bother looking at it. I just put it aside and I watched the movie. And I did get a feeling that this is your typical ancient Asian wise man master type role played by someone else. So I think the stated thing was that they were like, oh, they didn't want to do it because they didn't want to play into that stereotypical Asian role and all kinds of stuff. And then I think he has since then come back to say that he should have probably casted an Asian character in that. So I was fine with it. The performance was good. I think she was one of the better parts of the movie. So I hate that because she played that role, her work gets kind of stepped on. But now we'll see going forward, roles like this show more diversity, I guess was what we would say. So yeah, I liked her. I liked her in the role. So it was a good performance. I can't knock the performance at all.
Yeah. So Lewis says he doesn't question the performance; he questions the casting director and choice.
Yeah. So there was a decision made at that time, right? And that is what it is. So you can't. But
let me ask you: if she was deemed to be called the chosen, the Ancient One, but her costume, because I think we can agree, like, her costume somewhat hews close to what the portrayal of that character is in the comics, right?
Yeah.
So if her costume wasn't the same, like she had hair or whatever, just dressed differently, would it have been as much of an issue, do you think? Like, I'm trying to, because I really enjoyed her performance, but I just don't know. Like, is it because they casted her and they had her in a ball cap, made her look like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. No, again, like I said, it was fine, but I did get that vibe. That is the type of character that they were going to. The way
yeah,
she dressed, the way she carried herself, and the kind of skill set that she had. I feel like it was a role that was kind of geared towards that stereotypical Asian. So I don't know. I kind of like the idea of Asians playing non-stereotypical Asian roles. So that's why I like kind of people like Aquafina and kind of things like that do not play the stereotypical Asian. But I feel like this gets into a whole debate that I'm probably not qualified to get into. I think it's okay.
Okay, so from a performance standpoint, though, I thought, like, I will say that there is something to be said for having the female in that role as opposed to a male, because I think she
Yeah.
connects with Strange in a much different way. Like the scene when at the hospital where she kind of freezes time, right? Like it's her final moment with Strange, and she's delivering that monologue to him about, like, I feel like that. I think it connects at a different level because it's being given by a female as opposed to if it was a male.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So overall, I really liked her performance. I just wish that there wasn't such a, I don't know, an asterisk or a cloud or whatever next to it, because I think that it's just too bad that they, costume wise or direct whatever, they went with the way that they did. Because I thought she was great.
Yeah. Yeah. How about everyone shouting at Wong? How did you feel? I feel like Wong didn't get a lot of time.
No, he's awesome. He's awesome.
He was amazing. And then they go to that final scene where he's like impaled by the thing. And I'm like, oh no, what's going on? I'm pretty sure I see this guy in the other movie. So they kind of rewind. They turn back time.
That was really cool. Like that. And that was the thing. Like the special effects, like the turning back time, like that dude getting stuck in the building, like all of that stuff was just phenomenal. I think the Wong stuff was really funny. When he's listening to Beyonce, and, I see the hand coming out and grabbing something, and he's like, "What the hell?" Like, right?
He was a good like keeper of all these secrets and stuff like that.
I think you need to have humor in some of these movies. Like, I think you need to have, without it being slapstick. I think what helps a lot of these Marvel movies are those interjections or interludes of some humor. I know that some people that they just don't want humor in their Marvel movies, like it's goes against the, like, what's in the comic or whatever. But I think having some of the humor on the big screen, I think, or in the screen format, it definitely helps. And I think Benedict Wong does a fabulous job. Even in these later movies, and we saw him even in No Way Home, right? Like he plays. It's so funny because both he and Benedict Cumberbatch play the straight man. Do you know what I'm saying? In their humor approach. So it's very funny that they both kind of work well off each other.
Yeah. Okay, let's break down the scenes, Rob. Do you have a favorite scene or multiple favorite scenes? I definitely feel like my favorite scene involves one of my favorite kind of B list actors of all time, which is Scott Adkins, who was that one kind of acolyte who gives Doctor Strange kind of like the run for his money, and they're just fighting it out. And then he basically like dies, and then they fight it out in the astral plane, which was a great scene. So I really like that scene. It's a shame that he didn't get any speaking parts or whatever, but he always plays a really brilliant bad guy who definitely seems overskilled for being, top henchman all the time. He always does like the craziest kicks, and you're like, how come this guy isn't in charge? But do you have a favorite scene that you would like to shout out? Anyone in the comments, let us know what your favorite scenes were in this movie.
Well, I'm probably just going to go with the obvious, which was the mirror universe fight, right? Yeah. Even the one in the beginning with Tilda Swinton, like with the ancient one, was fabulous.
That was a good opener, yeah.
Like that was a really solid opener. Like I was like, that sets the stage for that movie. And so I really like that. I mentioned earlier the rewind aspect.
The
it
apple?
takes place. What's that? Yeah, the apple. But I mean in the city.
During the fight, and people start getting encased and stuff, like the one girl.
Yeah. And everything's
he gets crumbling in the wall. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, and you see him turning back, and they're running backwards, and like the cars are flipping and they're dodging. Like, I just thought it was just so well done. It looked so great, you know.
It was very tenant like. If you could sub in, you know how Marvel likes to throw in big tracks, you know, almost James Gunny. Would you throw in Cher's Turn Back Time during that scene? Or would you choose Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time? I feel like
Cyndi Lauper, Time After Time
would be a hell of a jam to play, and maybe find a rare acoustic version of it where she's just killing it, you know.
Yes. Yeah, I would totally go with Cyndi Lauper, Time After Time.
Time after time. That's a great track. That's a great track. Listen to that after this show. Last week I shouted Raspberry Beret. Definitely listen to Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time after the show is done. What a great track.
I feel like that was like the soundtrack of everybody's like school dance, like in grade 8 or grade like, or for Scott.
No. You're showing your age now. You're showing your age. It was definitely All for One.
No,
I swear. So Scott shouts out the Cape scene. You can't deny the Cape scene, and it's got one of the coolest. There's a lot of cool gadgets in this movie. The whips, Mordo's staff, and that weird Iron Maiden thing that locks the guy up. But the cape,
that was really cool, right?
is the coolest thing in I was like, this cape is like, you know, if we had rankings for Marvel Universe character power levels, like the cape's got to be like way up there. Like that cape could have taken out Thanos. No,
yeah, I would think so. Well, it tried, didn't it? Try it.
I don't remember. Does he just punch it out?
It rips it off. The Iron Maiden thing was phenomenal, right? That metal skeleton.
Yeah. And it like locks him up in this weird position.
But even the scene in the hospital with Rachel McAdams' doctor and trying to save Strange, and his astral body is hanging over, right? Like
Jonathan Yo shouts out that scene. He's like assisting her, and he kind of like pops through. Which was a really cool effect. This kind of like stained glass window type effect they did. He pops through and he's like, okay, I'll be back in a second. And then he jumps out and fights this guy. And then when he gets shocked, he sends off this whole thing. So yeah, I think that was really good. Let me see. All right. So Scott shouts out he wants the Cher song. Time After Time in Goonies? Or is he just
I don't know. I think the only reason Scott wants that song is because he likes her black duct tape outfit in that video.
Yeah, by the way, Cher definitely has a time stone. So if you look at a picture from when she filmed that video, to Sunny and Cher days to now, she's the same person. I don't know why there hasn't been some kind of inquisition and trying to figure out if she's got some weird technology, or maybe she's got Rapunzel locked in a tower somewhere. I don't know. Shout outs to Gord, who mentions One More Time from Daft Punk. That would be another good choice as well. And every time it goes to one more and then it jumps back, that'd be great. Fraser also shouts out the mirror universe. How about the Dormammu scene? How do you feel about basically the end fight being Doctor Strange, kind of like best, like not it wasn't a fight, it was a
battle of wits.
Yeah.
That for me was the weakest aspect. So as much as I said it was gorgeous to look at and it was ripped right from the 70s comic, it felt so out of place. Like I just felt like it, you know, when we watch the original Wonder Woman, not that 84 sequel. You're watching that whole movie, and then we are going to watch it again. And then it gets to the end, and she's now fighting, what's his face? David Thewlis. And you're kind of like Ares, and you're like, oh my God, now it's like a video game boss battle. Like, you were kind of grounded in this one area, with an allowance of things, and now you've like jumped like the shark almost. And I kind of felt the same way about Dormammu. Like, yeah, it's magic, it's mysticism. You've got the mirror realm, the spirit realm, and everything else, like the mirror universe, and you're doing all this stuff. And I can accept that because I feel like it's contained. There's rules. There's rules for those things that were happening. And then all of a sudden you're facing Dormammu, and it's over and over. And it's funny, but it just feels like thematically, it feels really out of place, to be honest with you. It feels like they just needed like the great big baddie. And it's too bad because I think Mads Mikkelsen's bad guy he was more than enough. up against Doctor Strange. So
I've seen the often criticism is that main villain was underused. They had such a good villain, and then they kick it over to Dormammu, and then they come back and that guy just gets vaporized. So I'm always questionable about when like the top henchmen or the top followers just get duped or destroyed instantly. It's like they've devoted all this to and then they're just like, see you later. So it's like, what the hell? Yeah. So Jonathan Yo says that he thought the end fight was super smart, and we did get a big fight scene already. I think he also is correct all along those lines, but I did find it somewhat unnerving that it's just a giant Dormammu head. Maybe they should have made him into an actual guy or something.
He kind of reminded me a little bit of like the giant cloud in Green Lantern. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
or Galactus in Fan 4, or
what
they might have done at the end of Blade if they originally went with their original ending, which is Stephen Dwarf turns into this blood cloud.
It just felt like kind of over the top about stuff, right? So.
Yeah, Steve shouts out seeing him die so many times. That was pretty clever. All the different ways of him dying and the sacrifice that he's willing to do. So yeah, it's just a little kind of like sometimes you want an ending with a big bam, which we did get they're right. We did get a big scene at the end. So Rob, what do you think? How much of this is going to be relevant going into the new movie?
None.
You think all this is gone? This is all off the table.
I think
replaced everything.
Well, no, I think Baron Mordor, obviously, because we haven't seen him since. So, and we know Rachel McAdams. And so I think that there will be obviously some ties to this movie. But to be honest with you, John, most times sequels are pretty direct, like, parts to the first movie that came before it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a pretty thorough line between parts 1 and parts 2. And I feel like so much has happened between 1 and 2 that there's very little that's going to be tied to this first movie, because you've got, Strange is different. Wong is now Sorcerer Supreme, because of the events of No Way Home. That's why we have the multiverse that's opened up with WandaVision. You've got Wanda. Like, there are now so many other entities and properties and movies and television shows that are now influencing this movie. Very little, I think, is really tied to this first movie, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. So how about a better question maybe? Shout outs to Lewis, who shouts out the Ang Lee tornado cloud fight. So yeah, it seems to be a trend. The mummy scorpion. Have you looked at the CG for that? I saw a bunch of YouTubers. Horrible. Yeah, did like let's redo the CG for this, and they tried to fix it up, and they couldn't quite do it. But yeah, shout outs to that. I guess the more question is, do you think this in hype level, and I think we've talked about this, in kind of scope of all the stuff going down, do you think this can top No Way Home in just kind of sheer scope and kind of fandom going crazy, box office, selling out, all that kind of stuff? Like, because this is now all in the Marvel universe, which has arguably been the originator of it, and it's what made Spider-Man big. Combining the MCU with Spider-Man is what helped make Spider-Man as big as it is now. So now this is kind of like the master kind of coming back and doing that. Oh, now we're taking everybody in. So do you think it's going to be as big?
No, I don't think so. I think for a couple of reasons. One is that, No Way Home was a culmination of these two movies that came before it. And you had the inclusion of all these prior non-MCU movie characters and actors. Like, that was huge. Like, you never would have thought that you're going to get the actors from the Raimi universe, from the Mark Webb universe coming into play into this universe. Like, it was just, there's no way. So that, I think, bumped the excitement level of No Way Home up past, had it been a normal No Way Home without those other actors. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just the regular cast from the first two movies and a new bad guy, then that would have been it. I think it's a whole different movie. I think there's a huge reliance in this movie that you must have watched WandaVision and What If to really fully appreciate
the one episode, I guess. The one episode of What If.
And also, this movie is also not very long. I want to say it's just over an hour and a half. Like, it's really short runtime. So, And
only an hour and a half. How are they gonna fit all this shit in?
I think it's only an hour and a half, and I believe that also it's very dark. I don't know. I'm going to be very interested to find out.
It says 126 minutes. So 2 hours and 6 according to Wikipedia. Yeah.
Okay, 2 hours and 6 minutes.
126. Yeah. So
I thought it was. I thought it came in at 98. Okay.
Yeah.
So I question how, like, this is supposed to be a very
that would make it shorter than Morbius.
Yeah. Well, this is supposed to be a very dark horror type movie. So I don't know how you're going to get a lot of the young kids being able to see it. So all in all, I think it's going to do quite well, but I think it's going to hit more to the people who've invested a lot of time in these MCU projects, as opposed to, people who are going to take their kids because it's Spider-Man and you're selling Spider-Man toys.
Yeah.
You tell me, as a retailer, have you seen a lot of Doctor Strange toys? Because the market was flooded with Spider-Man toys.
Yeah. So the Marvel Legends has they do have a bunch of Doctor Strange lines, so you can get Wong and Mordo and Strange and all these kind of stuff. So they do, but it's definitely not the marketing machine that the Spider-Man, just merchandise in general. Like, I don't see any kids Doctor Strange toys in the mix quite yet. So yeah, so shout outs to 98 Degrees. There we go. That's another boy band that Rob loved. Look at his face. This guy, you can't like, oh no, I listen to Rage of the Machine and Red Hot Chili Peppers all through my youth. Lies.
Yeah, like Scott's like, my 10 and 12-year-old will be there. Yeah, and I agree. I just don't like, I'm going with my son on Friday. I just don't know if you're going to get like the 5 and 6-year-olds that we saw at No Way Home.
Yeah. All right. So that's Doctor Strange. I'm glad I watched it before this movie, even though Rob just said none of it's going to be relevant. So
I think there will be some relevancy. There will be some. You're gonna like some of these characters. Like, I think Steve asked, like, is this even going to be like, which version of Mordo are we getting? Or who the hell knows? I have no idea. I have no idea. But I think you have to have watched this first movie to understand who that person is. All I'm saying is that I think there's less in this movie tied to the first one than the other movies that have come before, and the other TV shows that we've had in the last couple of years.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, there's definitely reference. Yeah, sure. What's up, Doctor Strange? Doctor Strange checking in.
Yeah. Get your sling ring on, buddy.
I'm surprised that wasn't like a costume prop that was like everywhere. They probably did make some, but maybe I saw a whole bunch of jewelry coming out for this new movie, so it looks like there's gonna be a bunch of stuff coming out. But yeah, I think that's it for Doctor Strange, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed watching that with us.
When are you seeing the movie?
Yeah, I'm gonna see it next week. I think I'm seeing it I think I'm going to the Late Show on Thursday. I'm not sure.
So this coming Thursday.
Yeah, I think we're seeing it soon. Yeah, it's gonna get crazy.
Yeah, I'm seeing it Friday night. So
yeah, it looks quite sold out. Like when you look at the tickets and stuff like that, it looks like a lot of them are going. So
hey, Fraser, I'm assuming you're gonna be going to Landmark. Are you gonna go sit in those premier seats, buddy? Because I'm gonna tell you, there is nothing quite like those premier seats watching movies. That's all I go to now. So I hope my fellow Durhamite Fraser is taking is going to be going and checking the movie out in these premier seats.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's Doctor Strange, everybody. Thank you for joining us and watching it. Thank you for tuning in and discussing it and letting us know your thoughts, what your favorite scenes were. John, do you want to unveil what next week's movie
all right, so
going to be?
So we originally kind of planned this out after we watched what did we watch? There Will Be Blood, followed by No Country for Old Men, and then we kind of lightened it up with Doctor Strange. I was saying, Rob, let's do some comedy, folks. Let's lighten some stuff up. So I think we're going to I feel like it's in my list of, like, if you were to say what are your all-time favorite comedy movies, I think this is on there. Rob, do you think it's on your list too? He's got to think about it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
You don't know? Okay, maybe in the rewatch. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't watched it since it came out on DVD. I wasn't a theater goer at this time. I saw that it's kind of like a spiritual successor in theaters, which was Knocked Up. So if you can guess what we're talking
Porky's.
about. Yeah. Oh, Porky.
Is it Porky's? No, we're not watching Porky's.
No.
Porky's 2?
No.
The
There
next
was
class?
a 2?
Yeah. There was like 4 of them. There was like 3 or 4 Porkies.
Get out of time.
I will
Get
not.
out of here. Anyways, we're jumping to a Steve Carell, Judd Apatow classic featuring a whole host of people that are super famous now. I think Kevin Hart makes an appearance in this movie.
Yeah.
Like
Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd, our Ant-Man himself.
Ant-Man. But yeah, it's been ages since I watched this, so hopefully you guys are in the mood for comedy. Where can we watch this particular movie, Rob?
Yeah, so if you are in Canada, you will be able to watch it on Netflix as well as on the Crave Stars extension, I believe. But it is on Netflix Canada. If you're in the US, I believe it's also on Netflix or Hulu, one of them. I don't know. So you'll be able to check it out there. But we are pretty excited. We haven't done a comedy, John. Like, I won't even say Howard the Duck because nobody laughed in that movie. So
I think it was only the one episode that Rob skipped out on, which I think was Mean Girls, is technically considered a comedy.
I think because it wasn't that I skipped out, John. I'm fairly certain my son was having surgery that day.
Skipped out surgery, tomato.
So we're definitely going to go checking out. Yeah, I'm kind of excited. It's been a long time since I've delved into this movie. I watched it a fair amount back in the day, so I'm quite excited to check it out. And it was funny because I think you and I were talking about how like the character has like all these collectibles at his home, right? All these like toys and boxes and stuff.
Well, there's a story element of a whole eBay store and all that kind of stuff, which is very relevant for what's going on today. Like collectibles have taken off at an alarming rate. Everybody's into comic collecting and key issues. So it's going to be interesting. Look, Lewis is like completely lost. He didn't recognize the picture at all. So we're watching 20-Year-Old Virgin. Lewis, did we not mention the title of the movie at all?
I'm fairly certain you did. I'm certain you did. Yeah.
So yeah, well, I hope. I wonder if anyone's not seen it.
What's that?
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, let us know in the comments. But I feel like this was the movie that everybody watched. Yeah, Scott shouting out Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, that's right.
Crazy.
One of the funniest scenes ever.
Yeah, we're gonna see if it stands up. Maybe it's gonna have some issues. I'm pretty sure that it'll probably have a handful of cringe or kind of non PC moments in it. But I think, like Fraser said, yeah, a lot of you guys probably own it on DVD because it was a smash back in the day. Oh, Jonathan Yo has never seen it. Definitely interested to hear some people's takes on it. Fraser, yeah, see, everyone knows lines from this movie. So we'll see. I'm sure you've seen the trailer. You guys have definitely seen the trailer. This is
it's making me laugh now just thinking about those scenes.
This is again, I haven't watched this. Like, how old is this movie? Do you remember what year this movie is, Rob? Like, I don't even remember.
It's 2012. I'm gonna double check here.
Yeah, so it's probably been 10-year anniversary, I guess.
Oh, dude, 2005.
2005. Okay. Yeah, it's not as old as I thought it was.
We're almost at 20 years, bro.
Oh shoot. Okay, maybe it is as old as I thought.
It's 17 years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a hot minute, but I feel like this is one of the early stages where they really started to let comedians kind of go wild on playing parts. So now it's almost standard practice that you see comedians or people doing their own lines and what do you call it? Improving, right?
Yeah.
Now it's basically become the norm where you're like, oh, they improv that line. They improv. I feel like this is one of the pioneers where they started to let people really go nuts. And I feel like we've quoted a lot. I think Sarah's quoted a lot in the chat. The whole like Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd playing video games and stuff like that. I don't know. Rob says he cannot grow facial hair. So
No,
I don't know.
I can't go
Gord,
anywhere.
unless Gord wants to step in,
Yeah.
and jump in on this.
Yeah, I got like little wisps, and that's about it.
I am
like, there's
Asian,
nothing.
so I do not have the chest hair as we call it. I don't know what Rob's excuse is, but good for him. Low maintenance.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So that's our show for this week, ladies and gents. I really appreciate everybody for showing up and for participating in the chat. It's always a lot of fun. The hell?
We're gonna play him out, Rob.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Do you remember, Rob, when the girls stopped by in the summer? Do you remember?
Oh my God, you're an idiot.
That time? You remember, folks.
No, I don't.
You all know the words. Rob knows the words. You got a friend? Doesn't know. New Kids on the Block had a bunch of hits. Chinese food makes me sick. And I think it's fly when girls stop by for the summer. For the summer. Rob liked girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch.
I did.
It's copyright strike. Thank you, folks. Thanks for joining us. We'll check you on the next one. Good night.